Good evening once again, Kunal, and good evening to all our regular listeners and those who've been following our conversation on AI and its future, short term and long term. One of the things, Kunal, that I've been thinking of for a while as I read the plethora of articles on AI is the inevitability of disruptions that AI is going to cause and already causing in several fields. Not just the fields which demand a lot of automation, that of course, it's a no-brainer. Robots, for instance, will of course be taking up most of the work most of the repetitive automated works that humans are doing. It seems AI is poised to take over a lot of work in other fields too. Several fields come to mind. Education, medical science, Like it if you can take up each of these fields that, I would like you to talk about disruptions in the medical field. Education, of course, yes, and that's something that I am concerned about too. Aviation, finance, banking.
So one of the things in AI is the human-like, if not better, intelligence. That has been proven, we've spoken about it, and it's not just aggregating data from internet. Now, AI model itself, which could come in, which is getting shorter and shorter and shorter, getting compressed. With AI at that level,
something like from the Internet of Things to
the
AI of Things.
Correct. This is a huge disruption which not many have yet spoken about, I think. Replacing internet with AI.
Replacing internet with AI.
What comes to mind when we think about internet? One of the things is probably Google. Last 20, 25 years, 30 years, Google has been one of the most innovative companies. It has changed the way we look at information, we process information, we access information. Google was always aggregating information in the smartest way, indexing it well. But who gave value to Google's search engine was not in 98 or 99, when if you were to search something, A, it was not online, B, it was not on the first page. It was always on the 10th page or 100th page eventually. But when we kept clicking, the initial users who search for something, it comes and they go through page by page by page, they go to 20th page and click. More people go to that page and click for the right information. That is what humans taught it. And as more and more people clicked on it, it ranked it up and moved it to the first page. And today,
so it worked by algorithms.
It worked by algorithms.
No one placed it there.
Exactly. So there was a lot of data which was digitized. Then algorithms came in that identified how to get more relevant information on the first page. So you have to spend less time looking for data, looking for information. But that work was done. It was crowdsourced. Humans like us, all the users, made it more and more valuable. And that's why Google had become one of the irreplaceable platforms, because it wasn't necessarily any spectacular at search. It worked. It was decent, simple interface. But everything coming on first page was the key. Even at that time, late 90s, early 2000, Microsoft, which was the richest company, one of the richest companies on the planet, tried competing with Bing, but it could not. It could not, because now moving all the users from one search engine to another and to click again from 10th page and bring it to the first page was a challenge. So that is the power of Google and internet. So we cannot imagine our life without Google. Google is internet. But with AI coming out 2 years ago, with OpenAI, less than 2 years ago, in the public domain, with ChatGPT, and since then, Perplexity, Claude, many others. Now, Google looks childish. People have stopped Googling. Because Google lets you search, gets you lots of links, and then you have to make sense of them or identify whether it serves your purpose or not. And we humans are not used to anymore going to the second page. If we don't find anything on first page, we believe it does not exist.
And also, one gets lost if you start clicking on all the links, looking for what exactly you want. Before you know it, you're lost in all that.
Exactly. You're looking at irrelevant information for many times. Plus also Google's business model, which was that you pay to get on the first page, which is called the SEO, search engine optimization, or AdWords. So that's Google's core business model. That meant that you'll end up seeing a lot of things which are placed there for you because they are marketing and targeting you to sell something. Right? Or to sell you some product services, to sell you some eyeballs, to sell you some your attention span, to give you something which they want, which may not be relevant to your search. Now, that model, which has existed for now 26 years, since 98 to 2024 or so, now that model is changing. The active users of AI, whether it's Claude, ChatGPT, and ChatGPT has launched a feature called Search GPT. Search is just trying to replace Google completely. So Google gives you the search for free. But if you're not paying, then you are the product. You are being sold to advertisers, right? Your data is being sold. And not you personally that way, but in a targeted way, in a macro metadata level. Now the search need not give you 20 links. You just want the answer. Who wants to look at 20 links? Like you said, you get lost.
Right.
So now you get the right answers. Have you tried Perplexity? Perplexity is doing it beautifully. ChatGPT does it, and it has a targeted feature.
It gives you one particular answer, yes, and it gives you several options after that.
And then
it depends on how deep you want to go with it.
Exactly. And then you can question more and dig deeper into the rabbit hole you want to go to, but not the irrelevant ones and then filter them out.
These are the relevant ones.
This is a relevant answer you need. You don't need 10 links.
Right.
You need the answer, right? So that model is changing now. Google itself is integrating not its own AI, but some French AI company's AI into its search engine. That clearly shows Google model is disrupted already. Now, if company like Google, which last 20, 25 years has been one of the most innovative companies, one of the big success stories, one of the big things about internet, which has been a huge disruptor, is getting disrupted itself.
Yeah,
that is huge.
Is getting disrupted,
This is huge. And can you imagine 5, 10, 20 years, maybe Google would not exist as is? It may not survive.
20 years is a long period of time.
Could be 5, could be 10. I don't know. I'm just giving them some rope.
Or Google would be completely transformed.
Or Google will be bought by an AI company, or they'll become an AI company. And they're trying to. They could not do it in-house. They'll try to launch their own version of AI. Failed terribly. Did not have, it was really woke. It had lots of guardrails missing. They did a poor job. They did a poor job. So now they're integrating with third parties and they're investing in other companies that are AI-led. So the most innovative company, which goes close to $1 trillion plus valuation, one of the largest in the world in the last 20 years to come out, that is getting disrupted at the highest level of intelligence, which has maybe 20, 50,000 super smart engineers working with it. Life changes completely. Why would you pay anyone for anything? Let me make one interesting analogy and make a story here. Why do you need internet at all? Today we use internet to access information, access content, things like that. A bunch of things. Communicate, right? Assume communication.
And present yourself online.
Communication we put aside for a minute. It goes on WhatsApp. It may or may not be with internet. It could be text message. Content and information. Broadly 2 things, right? Internet, if you look at, it's a lot of text content, video content, and searches.
2 ways,
right? Yeah. And then communication. Communication we can put on site. You can do it on phone, on text message, without internet also. But arguably, you can do it and it can get by. For the rest of it, think about content creation. Writing a blog, putting together a picture, making a video, which you take a camera, like we are recording this, record something, edit it, post it, etc. Now, there are AI-driven tools. ChatGPT is meant to launch Sora AI, which can make video from a text prompt or from just a spoken word. 2 minutes of content. Think about a brand film, a TV ad, an ad you see on YouTube or a television. It takes them at least a couple of days of shooting, months and hundreds of people together, and very expensive and long time consuming process. Now with Runway app which works on top of OpenAI and many other apps, we asked OpenAI how to write a creative script for an ad film. It helped us write after some interactions, took a few minutes to maybe half an hour, took it to Runway app and said, this is the script, make me a video, show me something like this, something like universe, then this, and record it for me. Look average looking Indian people.
You give the script and then you suggest the graphics, the music.
Exactly.
Just as you would do to a person.
Exactly.
And then the AI goes there.
In 2 days, I had a 30-second ad, which otherwise would have cost me in Indian rupee terms, at least 10 to 20 lakh rupees. And here it costed me nothing. Now,
Does it have a soul in it? I mean, the content that you create and the content that a human being would do, even something like ad, there's some spirit in it, no? Some human spirit. Would you not miss that over there? Would it not be just the show, the optics?
So I think it's getting very close to mimicking, if not doing better than the human spirit, in my view.
Basically mimicking, putting together things.
You can say make it more emotional, make it more feeling, make the character feel it more. You can say all that, and it shows. It learns.
At the end of the day, when you're making an ad film, what more do you want?
Same.
But if you're making a more serious film, perhaps you wouldn't go to the AI.
Yeah, perhaps.
No.
But and remember this: 80-90% of all the content, whether it's text or video or any form put together, is done by average people doing a bare minimum job. Now, AI can today...
Ads,
Yeah.
Copywriting and putting things together, making a good ad film means, persuasive enough for people to get convinced. And
Let me connect the dots. As I said, you don't need Google because AI now is giving you the right answers.
That's right.
It's in your phone.
Yeah.
It's in your any device you carry. It need not be connected with the internet either. It's fairly smart. Right? Now, some time you spend in consuming content.
Just a moment. When you say it need not be connected with the internet, do you mean it can work offline as well?
Yeah. So today...
stored where? In the computer? Your computer, your phone?
Yeah, in your phone. It needs some processing.
In chips?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why.
okay.
So iPhone is launching the next version of iPhone later in the year. And the next operating system upgrade will include AI embedded in everything. The Siri would get...
You don't need to go online at all.
You don't?
Because you think of AI of that kind without having to go online or without the internet is somewhat counterintuitive.
Yes. So AI, again, I'm repeating a thing we had said in one of our previous podcasts, that AI is not looking at internet for every piece of data. It is now an intelligent machine by itself. It is a multi-billion neural network.
In whatever device you're using.
It's a multi-billion neural network, just like human brain is. I don't need to go to internet to do certain things which I'm good at. I may need to go for certain things that I don't know. But now this AI model, a multi-billion neural network, which gets compressed to a small chip or a small processor or a phone or anything, does not need internet for most of its information and processing and analytical outputs. Point I'm making is, today we spend a lot of time searching on internet, doing things on internet. Then we spend a lot of time consuming content on internet, whether it's Netflix or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or whatever.
Right.
Can you imagine? You don't need both anymore. Both of them get compressed in an AI, in a non-online environment, offline, in a device which has processing and everything. You can say, I want to watch a movie with Steven Spielberg, but give it a slight Christopher Nolan touch. Take them to space and then show me some romanticism I saw in a French movie somewhere, and give me some music of one of the Indian musicians, Pandit Ravi Shankar, and make a story with these actors.
You're designing your own movie.
So think about this. How many people were creating content 20 years ago? Very few. Very few writers, very few film producers, very few actors, etc. Right? Collaboration was hard, expensive and all. Now today, everyone is a podcaster. Everyone is a blogger. Everyone is an expert in everything. Everyone has...
It's got that much easier too.
It's got easier, cheaper, faster, better, simpler. Now everyone gets a voice. Now today, a star on YouTube...
And you don't need to be good.
Yeah, you need to be liked by enough people. As long as...
Okay.
So, and people don't necessarily want good. I mean, the movie taste, the taste I have in movies...
Yeah, I mean, good is subjective again.
Right. Now, sometimes maybe dumbing down is not a bad thing. More people can understand. Eventually, why do I watch Steven Spielberg movie where I may like your scripted movie, which comes at the same time? Not saying we'll replace Spielberg. He might exist.
Right.
People like him will exist and continue to exist.
That I can accept.
But the point is this. Today, who is the most famous Indian actor? Amitabh Bachchan is one of the biggest actors. He is the most successful actor.
And an accomplished actor.
Very accomplished, lots of good work. He may have 1 million followers, but on YouTube or TikTok, he does not have as many followers as some of the influencers and the content creators do. So their world, in that world, not of Bollywood only, the big screen. Take that world out, take television out. On OTT, on TikTok, on YouTube, there are other content creators who have 10 million followers, who have 20 million people watching every day their content. Amitabh Bachchan will not have as many followers on YouTube. So, but the point is, decent actor, Rajkumar Rao, very decent actors. They are watched on Netflix a lot. Their movies on the big screens don't work. On theater, people have stopped going. People are going less and less, especially since COVID. But on YouTube, if they put out content, they will not be as popular as many other content creators whose name you may have never heard. What I'm saying is, the platforms are shifting. On new platform, you have a different Amitabh Bachchan of that world is somebody else.
There may come a time when this would disrupt the film industry.
It does. It will. It is already doing it. I mean, think about brand films, think about movie making. I heard some people are making movies now. They were already using a lot of technologies to put together the visual graphics and all that. But now you don't need a camera at all. AI will do it for you. You don't need to record. You don't need an actor. Can you imagine in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, you have a phone or a device, some device, in that you have all the most intelligent companion with you who can give you all the answers. You may end up, if the companion evolves well, you may end up having a relationship with that. That becomes your digital spouse of sorts, digital partner. Mm-hmm. It gives you all the answers you ever want. It is your Google without internet. It doesn't need internet. It is smart enough. It knows everything. It can create any content for you at any moment, any game, any movie, any OTT. I mean, just imagine, I'm talking about where people spend 10, 20 hours a day today. 10 hours a day, you're doing with just one. You don't need other people. You don't need other efforts. You don't need to go on internet. The whole internet gets disrupted. Why do you need internet at all? How many humans spend hours, if not tens of hours every day, looking at internet, accessing information, processing information, producing information, and processing it, and then consuming content.
But that's a huge range, from surfing to serious research we are doing on internet. What you're saying is we won't need to do any of this.
Possibly not, for most things not. Maybe internet would be just an optional thing. It's just like how optional it has become for you to go to library. If I told you 30 years ago, you'll not go to a library again.
Yes, I understand.
Right? Yes. 30 years ago, you were sitting in library all day long. Yes. Now, when did you last go to a library?
I haven't for years. I have forgotten.
Had I told you 30 years ago, you would not have believed me.
No, I wouldn't have believed.
Obviously, I didn't know then. But this I can see. And now it's 30 has become 3 or 5. One of the ideas we were discussing, I'm switching gears here for 1 second. The idea came to me. Renting someone's brain. Let's say literature. You're super good in literature. I want to do a research paper on literature, the evolution of literature in the world. I'll reach out to you, but you're physically not available for X reason. You don't have time for me. You don't know me. Maybe I could rent your brain with your consent, arguably, depending on how the legality around this evolves. Arguably, meaning that my brain could be copied in an LLM, large language model, AI. It knows me through my internet. It knows me through this podcast. It knows how I think, what I say, what I feel. And then it completes a brain like me. And I could rent that brain for brainstorming. It could be a clone, a virtual one.
So when you say rent a brain, what I'm understanding is rent my
thought process.
Database.
Yeah.
Thought process.
Correct.
So tell me one thing that brings to mind the disruption that is already happening and is likely to happen in your field, for instance, finance. You're already working on algorithms for trade, and you are using AI. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Today, if I have $1 million or $1,000, I can go to something called a mutual fund in India.
Right.
A mutual fund is a fund manager that'll take my money and millions of other people's money, aggregate it, and then put millions of dollars by analyzing different companies and invest in them. What they are doing is identifying companies, looking at their balance sheets, meeting promoters of the companies, and then choosing to invest or not, believing in a story.
There is a bit of a human play in that, right?
Human play is the intuition that I like the guy, promoter seems good, seems bad.
The gut feel that only humans can have.
Yeah, so I don't think many of them are driven by gut feel, unfortunately. But yes, if it is, but all the analytical patterns and analysis data they are looking at AI can do much better. Why do you need the mutual fund manager? Everyone can have their own mutual fund in their phone. Let's say I like to look at a company, I'm making it up, telecom company called Airtel. Airtel is a company that gives mobile services to lots of millions and millions and hundreds of millions of Indians. I want to know, should I invest in them today or not? Now that encompasses multiple things. One, what money they're making now and what is their share price at. Is that in sync or not? Sometimes they get overvalued, sometimes they get undervalued. Overvaluation, undervaluation is determined by multiple factors. AI will figure it out. All this data is available. You can look at their price data, who is the investor, who's buying, who's selling. Whatever is available to everyone. Normally, this work is done by the fund manager. Then they will do one more thing. They'll meet the management, or they'll come to something they call investor relations call, in which the CFO of the company or CEO of the company will come and talk about how they did in the last quarter, what's their next few years plan, what are they projecting, will they grow, will they not grow, etc., etc. Based on that, you figure out whether they are likely to grow or not grow. Based on that, you decide whether you want to invest or not. Okay. Now, these things is what a fund manager does, typically speaking.
Right.
AI will do it. Matter of time. AI will do it. AI can do it. Fund managers today have started to use AI to analyze better. Earlier, you'd have a fund manager, you'd have a lot of analysts who would analyze this data. Now, a fund manager doesn't need 10 analysts. Now, they'll need one analyst and one AI.
That makes sense.
Right? Now, slowly, the AI will replace 9 analysts, then it'll replace the one also, then it'll replace the fund manager. Matter of time. Everyone has an app of AI that specializes in financial investing, in algo trading, in similar things. That's where a lot of money is. That's where most of the intelligence is. That's where AI will have a bigger impact and bigger disruption.
When one uses the word disruption, most people think of it negatively for whatever reason. You know, it's frightening, it's destabilizing. But disruptions can also be many disruptions have been for the good. So what I'm going to ask you is, so do you think at some point this will make many more people richer, more prosperous because of this?
Now, if an AI app comes which specializes in financial investing or trading or something, surely the cost of a fund manager will drop to a fraction. At least by 10x it will drop. If AI does it, better, cheaper, faster, right?
Yes.
Cost drops, speed increases, scale increases. This is disruption, and I'd like to call it evolution. It's just the evolution.
Disruptions and evolution, there's a very thin dividing line.
Exactly.
Where disruption becomes an evolution.
So this makes things more efficient, better, faster. Some fund managers may not have a job after that. Some will evolve and maybe build such AI apps. Some will do something else. Gives them a chance to do other things. But depends how you look at it. There is always what's good for one may not be good for the other. What's good in long term may not be very good in the short term, may be painful, but then eventually it leads to something. So
but I come back to my question again. Will that make people richer than what they are? Because now they have algorithms mapping out their finances, their money, and taking them where the money is.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, eliminating human error.
Yeah.
Logically, we should be making society richer. Yes or no?
Yes.
Great.
Generally, yes. It reduces the cost, reduces the friction, reduces the inefficiencies, makes it more transparent.
So it is going to have a good effect.
It should. It would.
So yes. People losing jobs is one thing, of course.
That's a challenge which we have to keep on side for a minute.
But on a longer term, beneficial social impact,
correct,
economical impact is another thing.
Yes, that's all positive.
And both are going to happen. That's what you're saying.
Yes. AI is now exponentially leading, driving, increasing the speed at which the researchers were going.
Yes.
Now, those researchers, otherwise, their own time, their own resources are limited. With AI, they get a big power booster. They can go so much faster, get things done so much in real time, aggregate the data around the globe with other people, and find solutions. And this leads to something we've spoken about, the transhumanism, the immortality at some point where you can just keep going. Your biological constraints are eliminated with the bunch of these technologies driven by AI. But of course, the genetic code exists, DNA exists, the tissues exist, our understanding of a biological human body exists. and all the known challenges, how do we deal with that? AI should be able to help us a lot, and we could live. I mean, just 100 years ago, people were not living more than 40, 50 years. Today, 80, 90, 100 is normal for a reasonably middle class over rich people, right? Now, life expectancy may become 150 or 200 in our lifetime.
Right.
I don't think that's impossible. That's very achievable. Every industry, every single sector. We talked about internet. We talked about finance. We talked about now medical briefly. Every industry will get a big boost. This is like a superpower we are getting. This is like we are inventing aliens within our world, developing aliens through us, from around us, and unbelievable where this can take us. We cannot fathom it yet. I think about the next 5 years. I have so many goosebumps just imagining where it can go.
That was a very interesting and enlightening conversation, Kunal. And I would like to end at that note where you just said that imagining the next 5 years gives you goosebumps. Imagine what we are going towards. That is the point I would like to take up for our next conversation, for our viewers and listeners. That how do you envision the next 5 years?
Sure.
For our next conversation.
Sure.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.